Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. As time goes on, the SNP is becoming less of a political party and more a caricature of its evil self. It's acting like some evil uncle twiddling the moustache as he's tying the virgin niece to the railway tracks in some sort of Grand Guignol melodrama. But in fact, it's far more sinister, because in this case, it isn't some rich uncle trying to inherit the wealth of his niece or something like that. It's a dirty old man trying to sexualise the children of Scotland, asking 4-year-olds about their sexuality. This is a party that is fast becoming a pedo grooming party. That's all they are. Everyone in this party that does not stand up and reject this is now, I believe, complicit with grooming children for sexual purposes. Every single one of them. That includes the good guys like Fergus Ewing and Kate Forbes. People who you would expect who would be very much against this. Joanna Cherry. These are all morally good people. Their politics are a bit askew, but I do believe that those three at least, and a few more, a handful of others, are not these kind of people. I don't believe that they are. But by remaining in the SNP, they're showing their true colours. They would rather stick with the SNP and their perversion of what life is and continue with the grooming of children, with the targeting of children by adults, with sexual imagery, descriptions and questions. And that lumps them in. They all need to be on a register, and it is truly sickening. Let's have a look at what's going on. And I say to any SNP supporter, if you're watching this video, and I know you naturally watch to hate me, this isn't aiming at you. Please watch this video, look at your children and grandchildren, and ask yourself if you want the likes of John Swinney, of Humza Yousaf, of Maggot Chapman, talking to your children and questioning them about sexual matters. Even your 4-year-olds. Let's take a look. Now, before we get into this, let me just move that straight across there. Before we get into this, I'm going to ask that you subscribe to the channel. The more people that subscribe, the further I can send out messages like this, telling the truth. And absolutely, please absolutely like this video and give me a comment down below. Let me know what your feelings on this are. That alone, liking and commenting, will push this video out so that increasing numbers of people will see this video and will see what is happening in Scotland to children who are being groomed by peds, pervs and predators of the SNP Green government, and hopefully raise it as an issue and have such a public backlash that this has got to stop. Can we please stop pushing children down at this street by perverts for the use of perverts? Scottish schools deploy pupils to quiz kids as young as 4 on their sexuality. LGBT Youth Scotland, which has received almost £1 million in taxpayer funding, urges schools to appoint an LGBT champion to ask pupils if they're gay, lesbian or transgender. It is nobody's business. Why do they want to know? These teachers and politicians want to sit there and read the notes, holding the book in one hand, reading what's being said by young children about their sexuality, but only in their left hand, their right hand busy under the table at their desk, fondling themselves, spunking their load over it. That's who these politicians are, that they're pushing this and giving £1 million of taxpayer money to push this degenerate ideology onto children in Scotland. If this was a man in a park doing this to children, the police would be called. The parents would smash him to smithereens. And yet SNP voters keep voting these pervs into place so that they can sit and look and imagining the fondling of 4-year-olds. Scottish schools are using pupils to quiz children as young as 4 about their sexuality, it has been reported. Primary schools are appointing so-called LGBT champions to ask younger students whether they're gay, lesbian or transgender. Institutions are signing up for a scheme run by LGBT Youth Scotland to set up LGBT clubs, as well as gender and sexual orientation alliance groups. Why not leave children to be fucking children, you nonces? They're all nonces. The Scottish nonce pedos. SNP. Nonces one and all. And the likes of Joanna Cherry is agreeing with this. Who'd have thought that? After all the work she's done to protect children, she's staying in a party that's doing this. Kate Forbes claims she's a Christian. Christians don't do this. You know, Fergus Ewing, a man who says that he stands for what's right and good, is signing up and agreeing with what's happening. And we know that because they haven't quit the party. There's some in the party you expect it from. There's a lot you expect it from. But there's some who haven't, and that's truly disgusting. LGBT Youth Scotland receive £1 million in taxpayer cash in the financial year 22-23. The biggest chunk of this, £450,000, came from the SNP government, with £340,000 from councils, mostly SNP, and £154,000 from NHS boards. Think of this. All those politicians at governmental and council level reading all these reports of how 4-year-olds feel about their sex. Are you disgusted? Is your stomach churning? Because I'm fair scunnered when I read things like this. And it isn't just once. It's all the time. These people are animals. Stop voting pedos into power. This is what they're doing. And don't forget, this is the party that wanted the named adult law so that they could take your children from you. They are openly doing it. They're openly declaring that they are peds. And they're pushing this on your children and grandchildren. They should be dangling from lampposts, eating their own cocks. Over 200 secondary schools and 40 primary schools have signed up to its charter for education. And not because the schools want to, but because the local authority and Perv sitting on it want this to happen. They can sit there banging one out under their desk as well. The news comes against the backdrop of the publication of the Cass Review, which raised fears that the case for allowing children to change gender was built on weak evidence. It was built on trans housing, it's built on pervs, it's built on grown adults in positions of power and authority wanting access to children. Your children. The Scottish... I'm sorry, I'm losing the rag and I'm trying to calm down and do this calmly and it's very, very, very hard. I'm so angry with it. The Scottish Conservatives want the SNP government to implement the review in full. This is of the Cass report. Miriam Cates, the co-chairman. Now, she's another one. She's on the side of angels. She truly is. And she's had a lot of abuse for her stance. Miriam Cates, the co-chairman of the New Conservatives group of MPs, told The Telegraph, "We have seen from the Cass Review the appalling results of using children as pawns in adult political battles." Well, the funny thing is there's an awful lot of these adults want political porn. Indoctrinating small children with sexualised ideologies is deeply unethical and breaks all established safeguarding principles. She said, now, they're grooming. They're grooming children. That's all they're doing. They're sitting there, hands inside their pockets, fondling their balls as they're looking at children all the time. This is who these people are. Caroline Brown, an educational psychologist, said children of primary school age are very suggestible and at a very early age and stage of their psychological and emotional development. And that's why churches like children as well, for the same reason. Get them young. Corrupt them young. She says, what we're seeing here is the product placement of gender ideology in schools, which is potentially very harmful. Take the word potentially out. It's very harmful. Kids in primary school cannot possibly know if they're LGBT because biologically, psychologically and emotionally they will not yet have the capacity. But it's going to be rammed down their throats, and that's probably not the only thing that these guys want to ram down their throats. LGBT Youth Scotland charges between £850 and £2,000 for schools to sign up for membership. Schools that sign this up, if that school signed it up, take your children out and tell them you are not putting your child into a school that is run by peds. And pull them out. And say to the school, the child will go back when you get that money back from them, rip up that charter and tell them to go FRO. Tell them they are all peds and perverts, every single one of them. Why are they predating children in Scotland? Why is it so open? Why are the police not involved? And why are we not hanging these fuckers? I'm coming up. It's been a while. I had a cup of tea and I have calmed down. I was so angry. This happens all the time. It's all the time. And you keep saying to people, will you stop voting for them? They're pervs, they're predators, they're peds. And these SNP wild-eyed loons keep voting them in and then wonder what's happening to their children. This is what's happening to your children. Stop voting for a party that wants to take your children from you and do with them what they want. They are groomers. Straight up, straight simple. You wouldn't let a grown adult stay in a stranger walk into your child's bedroom. Why would you vote them into office? Stop doing it. Thank you very much. Please hit the subscribe button. Please share the video. Please definitely like the video and let me know underneath what your views on this are. It's vitally important and we need to stop them. And every time now you look at an SNP politician, you know what they are. Every single one of them, without fail. Because if any of them were ethical, they'd leave the party. And they're not. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.